and we're trying to develop new equipment to help validate the phenomena of touch. And a lot of people have always asked me too, because I get asked a lot, why naked? And I always have to remind people that if you're trying to validate touch, you need to see what happens to the physical body. And if you're wearing a shirt or a jacket, it automatically becomes, contaminated evidence. Because anybody who's a skeptic or even in the scientific world will say, it could have been your shirt. It could have been your jacket. So in all honesty, nudity just made sense.
Scariest places you've ever been?
I have to say there's a couple good ones that I do tell a lot of times on my lecture tours or when I do a lot of these shows. One of my favorite ones to tell is when I actually got to investigate St. Louis University. And this was during my lecture tour that I'm on right now. And I got called out to the campus to do my lecture, and I was the first to offer ghost hunts on the campus. So this was a new experience for a lot of the students. So I would take them around to investigate the supposedly haunted places that they have on campus. Well, I was unaware of this when I was asked to do this lecture at St. Louis, that this is where the true Exorcist case took place. And we're talking about the case that inspired the movie The Exorcist. Now, the story is actually about a little boy that they had named Robbie to protect his identity. It's not a little girl named Linda Blair, just so we know. So I was invited to the campus, I do my lecture, and now we're going to do a ghost hunt. So they take me to this building that's right next to the church that was involved in the case. Now, the church had owned this building in the past, but they had now sold it to the campus. And so this is what got us access to be able to go into this building. So they take me through all the different floors, and they take me to the fourth floor, and I'm surprised that the fourth floor was completely abandoned. I mean, holes all over the place, graffiti everywhere. And it was huge up there, too. I mean, you could see where there used to be old classrooms, there used to be old dorm rooms, because when the church owned it, the nuns used to live in these rooms. The old classrooms are where they used to teach Sunday school. Yeah, all kinds of, huge meeting spaces. And I was thinking, gosh, this place is so huge up here. Why doesn't the campus utilize this space? And they proceeded to tell me that they stopped using the space because they've had too many problems up here. And when they're saying problems, they're hinting to paranormal problems. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So we go through all the different rooms, and the students are following me around with the equipment. And I walk into this one room. And right when I walked into the room, I heard this crunch underneath my feet. And I look down and I see that I had stepped on a dead bird. Now, this is not unusual to run into dead animals, especially in abandoned places. But I didn't want anybody else to step on this dead bird, so I kind of kicked it over to the side. And when I shined my light through the rest of the room, I was surprised to see that the room was just filled with dozens and dozens of dead birds. Now, I had been through most of the fourth floor, and I had not encountered any dead animals until I walked into this one room. Now, the other interesting part of the story is security had removed all the doors on the fourth floor. This is because they've had far too many problems with students constantly sneaking up to the fourth floor to scare each other. So it just made it easier for security to make their rounds and not have to worry about students hiding in rooms or behind doors. So they just removed all the doors on the fourth floor. So as I'm standing in this room filled with all these dead birds, I realized these birds had access to the whole fourth floor. Why did they all choose to die in just this one room? Well, as I'm pondering this, I realized that none of the students have come into the room with me. I'm the only one standing alone in this room. They're all standing in the doorway. They all are too freaked out to come into the room. And I say, come on, guys, are you not going to join me? And that's when they tell me that this is the room that the boy had stayed in. Now, the story is that the church believed that they could not perform a full exorcism on the boy in the church because they believed that this could possibly kill him. So they had performed multiple exorcisms on this boy at various secret locations. So I'm now standing in the room where this boy had stayed in, and an exorcism had been performed. Creep factor's gone up quite a bit. So I'm a little intrigued, as a ghost hunter. Okay, I'm like, okay, let's see if we can get something here. So I coax a few of the students to join me in the room. They got the equipment, and we're standing in this room for less than 5 minutes. And I kid you not, all the equipment started to go off at the exact same time. We're talking the temperature started to drop. The EMF detector's going off like crazy. We can't figure out what's causing the EMF readings. The compass is spinning around and around and around and around, and it will not stop. And I'm going, oh my God, I got to document this. I got to prove that this is really happening. So luckily, my camera shoots an infrared video. So I switch my camera over to video. I start filming everything that's going on, documenting that the equipment's all going off at the same time, documenting what we're getting the readings, documenting the students' experiences and expressions, and then it starts to slow down a little bit. So I realized, okay, before it completely stops, I want to try for EVP, that electronic voice phenomena. So I start asking questions into the air. And I happen to ask the question, can you tell me whose room this is? Now there's about 12 seconds of silence. Then I start to hear crying to the left of me. And I turn and I realize that a couple of the female students have started to cry because they were so terrified being in this room. And I realize, okay, they're uncomfortable. And I'm going to admit, I'm a little uncomfortable too, because I don't have my normal ghost hunting team. This is just a bunch of college students following me around. So I'm a little concerned about the safety. So I decided, you guys, let's go ahead and wrap up, and hopefully I'll come back and do my own investigation. So we ended up finishing up the tour, and I didn't get a chance to go back and do my own investigation. But when I finally got home after my lecture tour, I had a chance to finally sit down and watch all the evidence or videos that I collected at all these different campuses. And I got to that video. And I got to the part in the video where I'd asked, can you tell me whose room this is? Now, I'm going to edit this for your audience, but I did get 2 responses. It says, F you, it's mine.
Oh, I'm not going back there.
Yeah, but I did. I definitely would go back.